Hi everyone, today we're at the Low Country Museum and we're learning a lot about the southern mourning customs, which were much different than the customs of the north. We're here with our guide and she's going to tell us a little bit about the mourning customs and the things that they did in the Low Country and in the South.
Well, basically the South changed slightly during the war, and I think it's more or less down to product availability. But when the ladies were widowed, they would go into total black, that was including their underwear, for an entire year. And as you can see, it was really jazzy, very ornate, and it could be anything they liked as a description of the gown, as long as it was black. Now, as time went on, she wore the black for an entire year, and then if she decided she was going to stay in the black after that year, she would add white to it, and it normally was the sleeves and a collar. That would indicate her second year of mourning. If she decided once again to go on further, she could add another color to it, and that would have been gold. So it could be gold jewelry, gold sleeves, gold buttons, etc., just to give it a little bit of lift, and again that would notify people that this was her third year of mourning. Now, mourning was slightly different in the way for children. If they lost their mother due to childbirth death, that child that was born from that mother would automatically be dressed all in black. And there was a reason for that. The actual children who were older, they would be dressed in white with black trim. Again, a reason. The reason being is if the nursemaid was walking with the older children, the public would know that the children had lost a relative. And they would really not really push it in the sense of going, oh, why are you wearing black and white? They'd know they'd lost a relative, so it would be a non-spoken gesture. If the child was in a perambulator and it was wearing black, again, they would not ask who had passed. They would know who had passed, and they'd know that child was a big victim, basically, of a childbirth death. So there was that slight differences.
Now, this is a very fancy dress, and we're obviously on a plantation. What would the less wealthy have worn?
She would have probably gone just into a small time period wearing black that would indicate that she was a widow. She probably would not wear the black for an entire year. Socially, the elite would wear it, but the second grades down wouldn't, because of the availability of their clothing. If they could not, you're right, they could not afford to go out and dye everything, they would dye probably one dress, or they'd have a black dress that they would wear for it. And that black dress may have been passed on through the family as a shared item.
Very nice. And then when you get a little bit later period.
Yes, this one is the late 1800s. Again, the rules applied slightly different to this one. This one would have gone in for a year in black. Again, she would have a choice to stay in black or go into colors. This one did add a small amount of color on her sleeve, and it could have been, as you say, a lilac. We don't know because it's faded so badly. So she could have added a little bit of lilac on that one, because we are now getting nearer to the period of time when the rules and regulations changed to the 1920s, where they wore the black for a year, and then they would literally go into lilac or purple for the following year, if they required. It was not a judgment on the society if you decided to go into colors straight after your first year.
Now, in the 1920s, we see a cockade on there.
Yes, that cockade is for women's liberation. And that was actually used in 1924, I believe that was it. But that's the cockade one for the women's suffrage. Now, the other thing, reference to The mourning, if you look onto the opposite side of the ball game, shall we say, this is the female. The male had a much easier life. He wore a armband, a black armband, or a hat band. And according to the width of it, was according to, so rumors say, how much he adored his young lady. Now, unfortunately, he was not set with a time period of mourning. Basically, once the poor old lady was put into the ground, he went on the hunt for a new wife. So he did not need to wear black.
And so women, they kind of went to that year period where they were set into that year or 2 years or 3 years. And they couldn't, it wasn't acceptable to go out. It wasn't
society. The 1 year was the main society chosen. After that, it was to their own choice. Now, you could look at it in between, thinking of this poor gentleman who's just lost his wife and she's lost her husband. They can actually come together. He could actually propose to her within the year of her mourning. They could decide to get married within the year of that mourning. But she has to wear black on her wedding day and a white veil. And once the marriage is over and done with, she has to wear the black to honor her late husband until the end of her 12-month mourning. And then she could go into colours, and society would accept that.
Wow, that's very interesting, and it's very different than, the North,
yes.
than the way they did things in the North, and the mourning in the North. And I suppose you had different dyes and different overall items down here.
Yeah, basically the item that would have been used by high society would have been the indigo, and that would have been a very good dye. But for the lower classes, it would have been a black chemical.
And that was probably not very comfortable.
No, because if you think of a chemical burn, that would be basically what would be dealing with you on your skin. It would be just a chemical eating at your skin, and you'd be sore and you'd be itchy. But
so you really would be mourning for
definitely.
You'd be in more ways than one.
Yes, you'd be hoping the front doors were shut and you could take everything off very rapidly, I should think. But ladies went into mourning. They certainly made a game of it. And the dressmakers, they had a ball with black because they could do so much. And if you look at old photographs of Queen Victoria from England, you look at some of her mourning outfits, and they are so exaggerated with the black jet and the drops and everything else that went with it. And it was very, very highly fashionable.
Did they do veils down here?
They did, and you can see a veil just there. Now, a veil down here, they wore veil for 3 months. They were not allowed to go out of the house without wearing their veil, and their faces had to be covered. And again, that was down to a superstition, because they weren't actually putting the veil on to save themselves. They were actually putting the veil on to save you. And the idea was, with the veil on, you couldn't see her face and you could not see her grief. So you would not take on her grief.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so they wore the veil for 3 months. They weren't expected to be out in society for those 3 months either. So it was a question of, I'm going to church, I'm going to put my veil on, and there I'll go. So that would be her purpose for that. If somebody came to visit, they would make an appointment, she would allow them in, she wouldn't need to wear her veil indoors, but she would still be in her black. But it would be for a social meeting, and it would not last more than 15 minutes.
Wow.
So a quick cup of tea, sandwich, and out you go.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This was very interesting.
You're welcome.
It's always nice to learn something new and something similar to what we know and how it changes from different regions.